Ghost of Tsushima was an incredible swan song for the PS4 and one of my favourite games of 2020, so I've been eagerly anticipating diving into the PS5 port and the Iki Island expansion since they were announced earlier in the year, and I'm happy to say that they didn't disappoint. Playing through the Iki Island expansion, I was instantly reminded of just how special of a game Ghost of Tsushima is. A quick heads up before we get fully into this review, I will of course avoid spoiling the Iki Island expansion, but it'll be impossible to fully discuss it without spoiling parts of the main game. So if you haven't played Ghost of Tsushima yet, I'd recommend you save this video for later, unless you're one of those monsters who don't care about spoilers. Seeing as it's been a bit over a year since I last hopped into Ghost of Tsushima, I was a little worried that I would have forgotten how to play it. There are few feelings as frustrating in a game as jumping back into a game you loved months later only to realise you need to relearn how to do everything. Thankfully, upon jumping back into Ghost, my muscle memory for the game kicked in shockingly fast, and within half an hour I was back in the swing of combat, landing combos and parrying enemies almost subconsciously, which is fortunate because the Iki Island expansion definitely features a couple of Ghost of Tsushima's most challenging fights. One of the strongest aspects of the Iki Island expansion is its story. It takes a deeper dive into Jin's backstory and does a lot to further flesh him out as a character. I always liked Jin, but this DLC gave me a whole new level of appreciation for him. Iki Island was where Jin lost his father, so it's obviously a place of great significance for him. Because of this, Jin is not only forced to confront his own past and deal with the guilt of being unable to save his father when he was younger, but also struggle with his father's past actions, and come to terms with the fact that his father wasn't the infallible hero he once thought him to be. Jin sets out for Iki Island after discovering that it's been overtaken by the Eagle Tribe, a mysterious new faction led by a woman who goes only by the Eagle. The Eagle uses a form of hallucinogenic to control the people around her, making her one of the most dangerous threats Jin has faced yet. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that early on in the Iki Island expansion, Jin has a run-in with the Eagle, during which he's drugged. Because of this, you're left questioning what's real and what isn't throughout the course of the DLC. I'm not usually a fan of this trope. It's been done to death in games. Hell, I think the Far Cry series has done it enough to ruin it for the rest of the games industry. But to be fair, I think that the hallucination aspect is utilised pretty well here. It doesn't feel like it's here purely so they can throw more weird shit in, like the Far Cry games. It's instead used to further explore the demons of Jin's past. While this DLC of course stars Jin, and we see a couple of other returning characters, the new characters often steal the show in the Iki Island expansion. The Eagle makes for a compelling villain, and newcomer Tenzo, a resident of Iki Island who's fighting back against the reign of the Eagle, is one of my favourite characters in all of Ghost of Tsushima. An interesting idea in this DLC is that word of the Ghost of Tsushima hasn't fully spread to Iki Island yet, which means Jin has to build up his reputation there from scratch if he wants to instill fear in the Eagle Tribe. Of course, the most exciting aspect of the Iki Island expansion is that it adds a whole new island to explore to Ghost of Tsushima, filled with new stories to discover and a plethora of new side activities to tick off. There's of course new haikus, hot springs and bamboo strikes to discover, and plenty of new enemy encampments to clear out. But the Iki Island expansion also adds some new side activities, like befriending animals by playing your flute, tilting the DualSense controller to adjust the pitch, and archery challenges that see you shooting a series of targets in the fastest time possible. There's also locations on the map where Jin can go to reflect on and relive his memories that are tied to Iki Island. All these new activities, along with the new gear added in this DLC, allow you to make Jin stronger than he's ever been before. Jin's not the only one who gets some new abilities in the Iki Island expansion though. This DLC also sees the introduction of new skills for his horse, which allow you to approach battles in new ways. For example, there's a skill that lets you charge through enemies on horseback, sending them all flying. Barreling through a crowd of enemies, then leaping off sword in hand to kill the remaining straddlers feels awesome. And I won't say what they are, as I wouldn't want to spoil them for anybody, but there are also a handful of challenges and gear pieces that will be very exciting for PlayStation fans. The combat in Ghost of Tsushima is simply sublime. It's stylish, visceral, and violent, and it makes every single battle a joy to play through. The way its array of tools and techniques allow you to effortlessly tear through a crowd of enemies is so satisfying. It's almost impossible to not feel like a badass while playing Ghost of Tsushima. Combat is further enhanced by the addition of new enemies on Iki Island, including the shamans, who can buff all their allies, so you'll want to prioritise taking them out as quickly as possible to make life easier for yourself. Often DLC can feel smaller in scope than the core game, but the Iki Island expansion really does feel on par with the rest of Ghost of Tsushima, thanks to its thrilling set-piece moments and climactic battles. The epic final boss fight of the Iki Island DLC is arguably one of the best moments of the entire game. Ghost of Tsushima had an impeccable soundtrack, and the music remains every bit as excellent here. It's a score with a staggering amount of range. It can nail both grand, sweeping songs that fill you with a sense of adventure, and emotional and reflective sounding songs that complement the story's more poignant moments. Honestly, Ghost of Tsushima has one of the best soundtracks in all of gaming. The Iki Island expansion is a worthy addition to an already exceptional game. Its new additions to combat make the game's already sublime battle mechanics even better, and its story manages to add a whole new level of depth to protagonist Jin. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. You can also find countless other videos on my channel, and be sure to stay tuned for even more videos, including my upcoming reviews of Aliens Fireteam Elite, Sonic Colors Ultimate, and Deathloop.